Hey guys, thanks for joining me here. Brian Schroeder here with FasterFunds Lending. We're going to shoot a little video today on the midterm rental. What the heck is a midterm rental? I've been in the real estate business for at least 20 years, really about 30 years, but at least 20 years. And I've never really heard about midterm rentals until like the last year or two. It's like really exploded in popularity. So we're going to talk about that. We got with us Keola Boak, all the way from Hawaii.
That's right.
Local St. Louis now.
Yeah,
How long were you in Hawaii?
14 years, 15 years.
14 years. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And Kevin Hubbs, how long have you been in St. Louis?
Be 2 years coming up next month.
And prior, you Phoenix?
Yeah, Phoenix before.
A couple newcomers to the St. Louis area. Love having you guys in the St. Louis area. Awesome real estate investors. So we're going to talk midterm rentals today because these guys are both passionate about the midterm rental space. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're just going to roll through, kind of teach people what midterm rentals are and what to do with them and so forth. So starting off, tell me, why did you guys choose to get into midterm rentals versus short-term or long-term or flipping or whatever? So why midterm rentals?
Okay, so I got into midterm rentals. My wife is a nurse at the Children's Hospital. So before I was focusing on the BRRRR strategy and going with the long-term rentals, my wife calls me up and says, "You realize what these nurses are paying to stay at these furnished rentals?" And I was like, "No idea." And she told me that a nurse was paying close to $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
And so that conversation, I go, all right, 100%, we're going all in on midterm rentals if this is true. And so we lined up, started researching it, got into Furnish Finder, looking at the numbers and said, makes sense, let's jump all in. So since that day, that was probably just over a year and a half ago, it's been our number one focus.
Well, cool. So you're, what I heard you say is you're serving a need in the market. You understood that there was a need. Traveling nurses need this, so you're helping them.
Yeah,
I love it. Kayla, why did you get in the midterm space?
Well, I was looking at it from a long-term, short-term, medium-term timeline horizon, and the short-term, there was just too much activity in and out of a house, not knowing really who was going in and out of that house. It bothered me. Long-term, quite honestly, it was just too boring. Because you get the tenant in there, you don't hear from them, or maybe you hear from them through a maintenance request or something like that. But the medium term is really a hybrid of the short term and the long term. It's like a 30 to 90 day play. And in that play, it's you get to interact with people in the healthcare field or insurance fields, and they're there for work, and you know exactly what that avatar, that person, that client is, their needs are, and it's just housing. They need a safe place to stay, and that's pretty much it. So being in the medical field prior, back in the military, I spoke the language. I knew that there was that need in the market. And then when Kevin had mentioned it, that his wife Kristen was, talking about it, he really got me perked up about it. So then I just went in on
Very
it.
cool.
So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Kevin, can you kind of describe what is a midterm rental? I think Kayla kind of described a little bit, but how would you describe what is a midterm rental?
So midterm rentals, there's different niches inside of just midterm rentals. We're focusing on the travel professionals as far as nurses, corporate housing, that sector. There's also insurance relocation, which is something we're looking into if we do jump into bigger properties, but we're kind of niched down on the 2-bedroom and smaller, focus on travel nurses in particular. So it's just travel nurses got big during COVID, and I think it's even getting bigger now because COVID just kind of exposed it. And then now more nurses are jumping on it and traveling. It's somewhere that they can go and travel the country. They're usually younger aged, and they got a nice furnished rental. They're making good income. And so our goal is provide that niche so we can furnish these rentals for a decent amount, rent them out, and like he said, you get eyes on the property. We're going and checking out the house in between every 3 to 6 months, depending on how long they're there. So then we get eyes on property, make sure the property is being taken care of. So like he said, it's not as boring as long-term rentals. So it's just a niche that it's been big. It's been good. I don't see it going away anytime soon.
So you're providing a house, and you're providing it furnished,
Yes.
and you're paying for all the utilities. So
Yep.
the person just comes in and they just move in. It's
Yeah.
simple as that.
Yep. So it's going to be totally turnkey, everything provided, a little bit more than maybe an Airbnb. We're going to have all the kitchen fully stocked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got the coffee makers, everything there. And we just want it to be, my wife always said, the 3 C's: comfy, cozy, and cute. So keep it basic, keep it simple, but make sure everything's there and make it feel like a home.
And to piggyback on what Kevin said about amenities, we're not furnishing the amenities as far as the consumables for that entire time as if you would a short-term rental.
Okay.
So you keep your costs down. You're just giving kind of a starter kit, maybe a week or two of, you know, K-Pods or laundry detergent, those type of things, just to get them started. Because a lot of these travelers are, you know, they're traveling from other places. They're not familiar with the area that they're coming in, as far as where the grocery stores are and things like that. So we try to make it easy for them as much as possible. So
are you providing like towels and sheets and stuff?
Towels, sheets.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That's part of it. Gotcha. Is there a certain type of property that you guys feel like works really well in the midterm space? You know, a certain location or a certain style of house or anything along those lines?
So I've completely narrowed down to pretty much 2 zip codes only, and looking at 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And it's just what I've looked at, and it's working for me. So again, I'm only right now focused on travel nurses. Usually focus only on 1 tenant or 2 tenants at most. Usually a lot of people are going bigger houses. They're getting multiple tenants in there. I didn't want to feel like I got to babysit this guy, you know, taking stuff out of the fridge, or this person's not cleaning up. I didn't want to deal with that. So I was like, I'm going to stick with a small house, let them deal with it if they want to bring 2 people in or not. But
so you mentioned 2 zip codes. Why did you pick those 2 zip codes? Is there certain special about those?
Just the location, convenience,
to what?
safe to the hospitals downtown.
Okay.
So you got multiple hospitals all in that area. It's a great area by Forest Park. So it's just a safe, great area, and real close, real convenient for the hospitals.
And I pretty much let Kevin pioneer like that whole blaze the trail through, and that I'm very similar in my avatar as 2 1s, 800 to 1,000 square feet, very similar zip codes. There's over 2,000 houses in our zip codes, so it's like Kevin and I are like, we're not competitors in that space. We're abundance mindset, so we you know, there's that. And then also I look for anchor type of stores that are really important to these travelers, like Target, a Costco, Chipotle, Chick-fil-A. They like those type of amenities or those stores around. And the other thing that I look at is not just the location of the property. I look at the environment. Are there parks around? And then the third is the can I leverage that property in the future? Meaning, is my property going to sustain appreciation over time? And that's what I'm really looking for when I'm kind of looking at the strategy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So before we started videoing, you both mentioned that you just are buying a house right now. So I thought it'd be good to just kind of go through each one. So
Sure.
Kayla, what's the house you're buying? Tell us.
So it's kind of funny because I just said 2 1, 800 to 1,000 square feet, but we're looking at a house just a little bit about 15 minutes away from the hospitals, closer to a large park in Holly Hills.
Okay.
And it's about 1,400 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
Ooh, that's not what you just read.
I know. That's why I'm kind of like, but I'm also looking at towards insurance type of opportunities, and or physicians that are here with their families that need larger houses and so on and so forth, that are here for extended periods of time.
Okay.
So that's kind of, I'm kind of dabbling in that to see what happens. It's still, I'm reaching out, getting out of my comfort zone a little bit in that space.
So what are you paying for that?
So 145, I'm under contract. Close.
Assume you're going to rehab it?
Yep, we're going to rehab it. We're going to utilize FasterFunds, of course, and the rehab is going to be about $35,000.
Okay.
We're going to, it's grandma clean right now, so we're going to do paint, cabinets, spruce it up, and $35,000 construction loan through FasterFunds, and so we'll be all in at 180 with a 260 conservative ARV.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And what do you think you can rent it for in the midterm?
We're looking at $3,250 to $3,500.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah, numbers work.
Cash flow in today's
Numbers work, and two, kind of what we were talking about earlier is there's a lot of exit strategies with this. If we need to sell it, we can sell it, exit that position. Yep. And if we wanted to turn it into a long-term as interest rates come down, we can do that too. So
Any idea what it would rent for as a long term?
probably about 1900.
Yeah.
So
Big difference.
huge, huge.
Kevin, tell us about your house.
Yeah, so I'm closing tomorrow, also using FasterFunds as well. Thank you, appreciate that. So it's purchase price is $150. It's pretty much turnkey. We're going to replace the cabinets, replace the appliances, and there's an office. So we're going to close that off and turn it into the second bedroom. So we're looking at roughly $14,000 in rehab costs. ARV's $220, so we'll have plenty of equity. So like Kayla was talking about, you want to have multiple exit strategies in this. So our goal is midterm rentals. If those numbers don't work, does the long-term rentals work? If those numbers still cash flow, we're good. If not, we got equity and we can always sell it for a profit. But
Awesome.
yeah, we think we'll be renting that for $22.50 a month, so plenty of cash flow there on that loan.
Very cool. Is there anything special that people should know about insuring or financing? Is there anything different than when you're doing long term or anything, or is it pretty much the same?
We've been keeping it the same. So since they're over 31 days, they are considered long-term rentals. So keep it at that. Keep it simple. Don't need to do much more than that. So
Yeah.
Perfect.
It really, what the midterm space is just a strategy. It's one that didn't get a lot of traction, probably in the past, but COVID really brought it to surface. You know, that there's traveling professionals. There's a lot more than just travel nurses out there. There's construction companies that need housing. There's engineers and professors, graduate students, all sorts of people that are traveling that just need that temporary housing, but do not want to pay the same nightly rents as a short-term rental or a hotel, right? So they're looking for housing that's safe and quiet.
So how do you guys find your tenants? How do you market to these short midterm tenants?
So Kevin brought up Furnish Finders earlier. There are a couple other websites. I can't think of them off the top of my head, partly because I don't use them as much. But Furnish Finders is a marketing platform. It's much different than Airbnb or VRBO. VRBO and Airbnb are booking platforms. So Furnish Finders is marketing. So you really have to put out a really good product, and you have to cultivate that credibility quickly with these agencies and or travel nurses. And how do you do that? Well, you get the opportunity to market to them directly. There's no intermediary or governance, which I really appreciate. I have control of my asset. I have control over who's going into my property, unlike other platforms.
So you put your properties on Furnish Finders, and then you're dealing directly with the potential tenant. They call you, or you text you, or however.
yeah, absolutely. So it's like he said, it's just a lead generation. So it's $100 a month for the first property, and you're just marketing your property on there. They're going to see the property, they're going to come to you, and then now you handle the transaction. So there's no fees like Airbnb where they're booking all their fees and everything. So we're on Airbnb, we're on VRBO, we're on Booking.com, but we strictly use Furnish Finders, so they can connect us. They also have Key Check on there, so you can do your background checks, credit checks, all that. So
I think it's $100 a year.
Yep, $100 for a year. Yep.
For the year, not a month.
Yep. Okay. So $100 for a year. So you can have the nurse jump on there, fill out the application, so you get the credit check, the background check, everything, and then you handle the collecting rent, everything yourself. So
yeah, and
it's nice.
You do for tenant screening versus I think most people are used to long-term tenant screening. Is there anything different that you do, or how do you do what are you looking for when you're screening?
Yeah, I'm looking for we get an opportunity to look at their criminal background check, and then they do a soft credit check, so it doesn't hit it hard, unlike maybe a long-term. So that they're able to repeat, in the next 3 months, go ahead and get another soft credit check and not have it hit their credit as hard. So, yeah, that's what we've been doing, but it's really not any different. One of the things that I've been doing is I've been requesting their contract, not the whole contract, but just the contract of who their supervisor is and the dates that they're going to be in contract for that hospital, which has really helped me feel more okay with renting out to those.
And you know their income
and their yeah, exactly, and we can see everything. So
what's the typical or average length of stay for a typical midterm tenant?
I'd say typically they're getting 13 weeks, and then sometimes extending it. So we've had our last 2 tenants have been in 6 months and 6 months, and then 3 months before that. We have a tenant in now that's getting out July 5th, and the new tenant's already booked July 10th through September. And a tenant in now just asked, hey, we just are looking to extend our lease. Do you have a place for us? But luckily we'll have one ready for them at a new location.
And what's really cool too about this vacancy and partnering up with other investors in your local area is that you might not be able to provide the housing for them, but you have a network, a local network that you can leverage your credibility to Kevin. So if Kevin needed, a spot filled, and I have a client that needs housing, I'll refer them directly to Kevin. So if you really work it together as a community of investors, which you're all about, Brian, is abundance and community, and bringing that all together, it really just makes a win-win for everyone. So,
I'm curious. Do most of your tenants come and view the property in person, or are they renting it just off of photos on the Furnish Finders website?
Usually it's sight unseen, so they're basing it off reviews, photos, which are important. It's just like anything, Airbnb, everything. You go on Airbnb, you're going to see properties that look outstanding, and then some that are a little bit more struggling. So that's a big thing. You want to make sure you furnish it nice. You want to make sure rehab the property is obviously nice, and then pictures are important. Most important. You got to have great pictures that really show the property, and then describe it. Let them know what to expect. So that way they're not walking in shocked or what's going on with this or that. You want to be transparent. Let them know.
Sometimes we've FaceTimed a few clients just so that they feel secure and they know that we are who we are and say who we are.
Yeah.
So we've FaceTimed before.
In St. Louis, we have all these little municipalities that have occupancy inspections and stuff. Is there any occupancy inspection issues that you guys run into with, because you got tenants moving in and out relatively often, any issues that you haven't had with that?
Haven't had any. Our inspector had said it's good for 1 year or when the utilities change. Well, the utilities aren't changed. So
Yes.
That's how you get around it.
Yeah.
I know you guys are believers in this space. I hear a lot of people saying, gosh, this is this can't keep going on like it is. It won't last long. What do you guys say to these people? Do you think this is something that's here to stay?
I don't know. I believe it's getting bigger, and it's not going or slowing down anytime soon. Just what I'm seeing, my wife's a nurse at the hospital. She's seeing just as many travel nurses coming in, if not more than ever. And a lot of nurses are leaving to go travel as well. So then there's even a bigger opportunity and bigger need for the hospitals to hire travel nurses. So we see quite a bit more in the future than what we're at now.
Yeah, and I think travel nurses have been around since the 70s, or it's been, they needed a house or they would rent a room from somebody, and it just didn't get much highlight until, just recently in the coronavirus happening. And there's also hedge funds that are also looking into the space, to the tunes of billions and billions of dollars with extended stays and offering furnished apartments and things like that to traveling professionals. So really, the thing that was really going to separate us as local investors is that they can't tailor, the experience and the connection of a one-on-one experience that we can have to offer to those travelers, which is value, So I don't think it's a fad. I think it's going to be here for a long time. And there's so many other niches. We just talked about mostly travel nurses, but there's other niches that do need housing in this space.
Yeah.
So
Very cool. Those are all the questions I have. Did I miss anything you guys want to add to what we talked about today?
No, I think if you're interested in getting into this space, learn as much as you possibly can, study it, and it's just a strategy. It's the rentals. On the rental side of the BRRRR strategy, it's the 3 buckets, right? Short term, medium term, and long term. And medium term is a space that you really should take a look at and get in touch with your local, lender, FasterFunds. I mean, they're awesome to work with, and talk to them about what you have going on, your plans and your ideas. They're always open to that and always welcome to just having that conversation. So I can't recommend FasterFunds more than you know,
For the plug.
yeah,
Appreciate
it's awesome. It's awesome working with you guys.
Kevin,
Yeah.
thanks for coming in. You got anything else to add?
No, I'd just add that make sure you got exit strategies. You know, it's always important, whether any strategy you're doing in real estate, whether you're doing long-term rentals, flips, whatever, make sure the numbers are going to work on multiple occasions. So don't go and buy a turnkey, top of the market, overbidding on property just to have a midterm rental. That doesn't make sense. So make sure I utilize the BRRRR strategy. So I'm going to have plenty of equity in there so I can flip it if need to be. And also try to make sure that you can run it as a long-term rental. If it's really tight interest rates, that's one of the awesome reasons I'm in midterms now, because long-term rentals with the interest rates, it's just the cash flow is really tight. So it works out this way. And if the interest rates hopefully go down, then boom, then it can turn into a long-term rental if needed.
And lastly, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because it's fun, and Shannon's involved in it too. And I think you mentioned Kristen too. You know, it's like this is fun to do together, and we dream bigger now, and that's pretty cool. You know, so.
Very cool, guys. Thanks for coming
Absolutely.
in today. I appreciate
Thanks, Brian.
it.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Convince me to change some of my lawn.
Check it out.
Let's do it.
Check it
Let's
out.
make it happen.
Check it out.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.